The bold and the beautiful. The scandal beneath Forrester Creations, Eric's final betrayal. For decades, Eric Forrester stood as the patriarchal pillar of Forrester Creations, the architect of not just fashion empires, but family legacies. He was the man whose vision created a dynasty, whose name became synonymous with elegance, and whose decisions, no matter how flawed, were always shielded by loyalty. But in one shocking week, all of that unraveled. It began with the discovery that no one in the Forrester family could have anticipated, and it ended with the death of the man they all thought they knew. The man they trusted. The man who harbored a deadly secret beneath their very feet. Construction workers tasked with renovating the old design floor of Forrester Creations stumbled upon something that would change everything. A human skeleton, buried beneath the cracked foundation. Police were immediately called. Work was halted. Forensic teams moved in. Rumors spread like wildfire through the hallways, whispers growing louder as the scope of the situation became clear. This wasn't a random tragedy. This wasn't an accident. This was murder, and the body had been hidden for decades. The investigation moved quickly. DNA confirmed the remains belonged to Marcus Nye, a lesser-known designer who had briefly worked for Forrester Creations in the late 80s. He had vanished mysteriously at the height of a copyright dispute, and though his disappearance had been quietly swept under the rug, old employees remembered the tension. The police dug into archived records, statements, conflict reports, security logs. Slowly, a pattern emerged, and the evidence pointed in one direction: Eric Forrester. The family was in shock. Ridge, stunned and defensive, refused to believe it. Brooke thought it was a mistake. Steffi and Thomas debated in private, unsure how to confront a past they had never known. But the most devastating revelation came from someone no one suspected: Donna Logan. Donna had known. Not everything, not at first, but enough. She had stumbled upon old letters, Marcus's last words, never mailed. She had uncovered a ledger buried in Eric's private drawer, containing threats, blackmail payments, and notes that aligned with the dates of Marcus's final days. The truth began to sink in. Donna confronted Eric in secret. He denied it. Then he didn't. He begged her not to say anything, insisting it was an accident, an argument that had gone too far. A push. A fall. Panic. He covered it up because he was afraid to lose everything. The company. His family. His name. Donna left that conversation broken. She loved Eric. But she couldn't erase the image of Marcus Nye's bones buried beneath the empire they had all built together. She stayed quiet for a while, but guilt consumed her. And when the police showed up to investigate the skeleton, Donna made a decision. She gave them everything. Emails, the ledger, a recorded conversation. She told the truth. When the news broke, the Forrester family imploded. Ridge was furious not just at the story, but at Donna. "You betrayed him," he screamed. "You killed him before the world could." But Donna didn't back down. She said what no one else wanted to hear. He killed someone. He buried a man and walked away like it never happened. It was the ultimate betrayal, one from inside the family, from the woman who had claimed to love him. Eric's health, already fragile, collapsed under the weight of the truth. The moment he found out Donna had gone to the authorities, his heart gave out. A massive cardiac arrest struck him in the middle of a tense conversation with Ridge and Brooke. Paramedics were called, but it was too late. Eric Forrester was pronounced dead at 4:12 p.m. Los Angeles lost a legend. But the truth had already infected his legacy. The next blow came during the reading of the will. With the family still reeling from Eric's death and the media firestorm swirling outside the gates of Forrester Mansion, they gathered to hear the final wishes of the man who had built everything. Ridge expected control of Forrester Creations to pass to him. Steffi assumed shares would be divided. Brooke hoped for an olive branch, even in death. Instead, everything, every share, every asset, every piece of Forrester wealth was left to Donna. It wasn't an oversight. The will had been updated just weeks before. Eric had quietly rewritten everything, bypassing Ridge, Rick, Thorne, and even his beloved granddaughter Steffi. Donna was named the sole heir and executor of the estate. She controlled the company, the properties, the patents, and the creative direction of the brand. The family erupted in chaos. Ridge accused her of manipulation, claiming she had pressured Eric during his vulnerable moments. Brooke, torn between loyalty to her sister and outrage over the fallout, demanded answers. Even Thomas and Hope, usually level-headed, found themselves questioning how one woman could hold so much unchecked power. But Donna had answers. Cold, documented, legal. She had recordings, emails, witnesses. Eric had made his decisions with full mental capacity, aware that the truth might one day come out. His logic was chilling. If the past was going to destroy his name, better to protect the company in the hands of someone loyal, someone who knew the worst and still stayed. Donna wasn't just his lover. She was his shield. Except she hadn't stayed. She had chosen justice. Now, with Eric gone and the family fractured, Donna found herself in control of a kingdom she never wanted to rule. The boardroom at Forrester Creations became a battlefield. Ridge tried to rally shareholders. Steffi pushed for an emergency vote. But the legal documentation held. Donna was immovable. And she had a plan. She didn't want revenge. She wanted redemption. She wanted to clean the rot from the foundation, literally and figuratively. She ordered a full internal audit. She greenlit a tribute line, not to Eric, but to the forgotten voices of fashion, the ones crushed in silence. She renamed the old design studio where Marcus's body had been found. The nice studio would become a space for innovation and transparency. But not everyone was ready to forgive. Ridge distanced himself from the company, publicly stepping down from his roles. Thomas, caught between ambition and loyalty, watched silently. Brooke and Katie took opposite sides. Hope tried to play peacemaker but struggled with the idea of her aunt holding the power her family had fought for. Public opinion was split. Some saw Donna as a hero brave enough to expose a crime no one else dared speak. Others saw her as a traitor, someone who destroyed a legend in pursuit of moral high ground. But Donna didn't flinch. She stood at the helm of Forrester Creations, alone but resolute. In death, Eric had become something else. Not just a founder, not just a father, but a cautionary tale. The empire he built had been crafted on beauty, secrecy, and silence. And now every silence had been broken. As Los Angeles buzzed with scandal, the Forresters tried to pick up the pieces. Relationships shifted. Alliances realigned. And in the middle of it all stood Donna, forgiven by some, hated by others, but unshaken. Because beneath the glitz and glamour, beneath the runway lights and champagne shows, the bold and the beautiful had revealed its darkest truth. Sometimes, the deepest secrets lie right under your feet. And when the floorboards break, there's no going back. Not even for a Forrester. Everything changed in a single boardroom vote. It wasn't Ridge. It wasn't Steffi. It wasn't any of the heirs who had bled for Forrester Creations over the decades. It was Donna, seen as little more than a charming distraction in Eric's long and complicated romantic history, who now sat at the head of the table with the company's full reins in her hands. The moment Eric's death had been confirmed and the contents of his final will and testament were read aloud, everything about the future of Forrester Creations shifted. In a bold, unprecedented move, Eric had transferred complete control to Donna. All shares, voting power, and executive authority now belonged to her alone. No trusts, no stipulations, no seats reserved for Ridge, Steffi, Thomas, or anyone else. Forrester Creations was now a Logan-led operation. Ridge was blindsided. Thomas was livid. Steffi, uncharacteristically quiet, didn't speak for hours after the news hit. The press jumped on the scandal immediately. A Logan woman taking over the Forrester empire? Headlines branded it as betrayal. Shareholders called emergency meetings. But the legal paperwork was airtight. Eric had made the decision himself, and whether out of love, guilt, or strategy, he had done so with full mental capacity. Donna wasn't stepping into power, she had already been handed the throne. And she wasted no time using it. Within days, Donna enacted sweeping changes. She began with the leadership structure. The executive board was restructured. Longtime staffers loyal to Ridge and the old guard were quietly removed. Some were offered retirement packages. Others were simply let go. Donna replaced them with a younger, more diverse group of creatives, fresh minds from design schools in Paris, Tokyo, and Milan. She called it a modernization, a rebirth of the brand. Forrester had grown too insular, too comfortable, too safe. It needed a shake-up. Next came the cultural overhaul. Donna banned interdepartmental favoritism, tightened HR regulations, and introduced policies prioritizing innovation, equity, and collaboration. She created a new creative innovation lab where young designers could present capsule collections without needing a legacy name to back them. For the first time, Forrester Creations wasn't just about the Forresters. It was about the future. But that future came at a price. Ridge watched as his influence vanished. Meetings he once led were held without him. Decisions were made that he wasn't even consulted on. His office was reassigned. The team he'd built, piece by piece over years, was dismantled in weeks. His name was still on the building, but his fingerprints were being wiped away. Thomas took it harder. Already on shaky ground after past scandals, Thomas had fought to regain respect. He had been rebuilding trust, rebuilding himself. And now, Donna had sidelined him. His designs were removed from the next major showcase. His creative authority was stripped. In their place were unfamiliar names with digital portfolios and bold, avant-garde concepts Donna called the new Forrester voice. To Thomas, it was betrayal. And to Ridge, it was war. They began meeting in secret. Not with the intention to destroy, not at first, but to take back what they believed was rightfully theirs. Ridge approached trusted allies in the industry, old partners, legacy clients, influential buyers. He painted Donna as inexperienced, reckless, emotional. Thomas worked behind the scenes, whispering doubt into the ears of board members still loyal to his father's legacy. Steffi, caught in the middle, refused to join them yet. But her silence was its own kind of permission. As Donna continued to make changes, she became increasingly isolated. Brooke tried to support her, but even she warned that pushing Ridge too far could create irreversible fractures. Katie and Hope offered guidance, but Donna knew this wasn't about opinions or loyalty. This was about power. And she had it. She wasn't going to apologize for using it. She hosted a new collection launch in the heart of LA, not the traditional Forrester showroom, but a massive downtown warehouse turned gallery. It was sleek, raw, and unlike anything Forrester had done before. The show was packed. Influencers, critics, celebrities all buzzing about the new direction. The reviews were glowing. Sales exploded. But behind the curtains, Ridge and Thomas watched in silence. The crowd loved it, but to them, it wasn't Forrester. It was something else. Something unrecognizable. So they made their move. A secret investor coalition was formed. Ridge and Thomas gathered enough signatures to call for a board vote of no confidence. They argued that Donna's decisions, though profitable in the short term, were destabilizing the legacy brand, that she was alienating core clientele, that she was putting personal ambition over family values. They submitted the motion. The vote was set. Donna found out hours later. She didn't flinch. She scheduled her own press conference, public, streamed globally. She laid out her vision, her metrics, her projections. She addressed the vote head-on. She acknowledged the tension, but framed it as necessary pain for inevitable progress. The world changed, she said. And Forrester needed to change with it. Legacy is not about protecting the past. It's about building a future worthy of our name. The vote took place in the main boardroom. Ridge and Thomas arrived first, dressed in black. Donna entered alone. No flinch. No apology. The board sat, silent, until the numbers were counted. Donna survived the vote. Barely, but it was enough. Ridge stormed out. Thomas followed. Steffi remained seated, staring at Donna with something unreadable in her eyes. Outside the building, reporters crowded. Inside, the silence settled like dust. Donna stayed late that night, alone in Eric's office. She looked around not with triumph, but with weight. This wasn't the role she had ever imagined. But it was the role Eric had chosen her for. Not to preserve his kingdom, but to protect it from itself. The uprising wasn't over. Ridge and Thomas weren't done. They would find new leverage, new ways to reclaim what they lost. The war for Forrester Creations was far from finished. But for now, Donna was still standing. And the throne, no matter how fragile, was still hers. And in the bold and the beautiful, nothing makes power more dangerous than when it's in the hands of someone who was never supposed to have it.